stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the town board meeting, February 8, 2024. Can I have a motion to open up the town board meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda, introductory law number 11 of 2023, a local law amending chapter 97 zoning, section 10, subchapter C. This is the local law that we have to allow us to sell water to other municipalities, including the village of Goshen. Any questions, comments from the board?
Why?
It's on.
Oh, it's on?
Yeah.
So, as I was just talking to you about, that paragraph in the middle of the page, it says groundwater removed for use in the village of Goshen, public water supply, prohibited. And then the bottom part of it says, for the sale of water by the town of Goshen to another municipality. It seems like the phrasing is not correct.
Well, it's not prohibited. Removal for the use in the village of Goshen public water system except pursuant to a special issue permit by the town board upon finding groundwater recharge measures will be taken to prevent any negative impact on the water quality or the quality of water. So I guess, Rory, how do you read that? Is that strictly allowing to the village of Goshen and then special permit to any other town? I think it is worded incorrectly.
Yeah, I didn't amend that part, so I don't think.
Well, what happens if you just put the removal of groundwater for use outside of the town of Goshen, period?
Yep.
And then that being removed, the next line.
Pursuant to a special permit.
Yeah, it goes right to I, go right to the lowercase I.
Joe, the only question I have, and I brought this up before, is if we sell it to another municipality and it's found later on to be contaminated water or whatever, people get sick and this and that, they can sue the town of Goshen. In essence, they're suing the citizens. And so we're going to have to be beyond reproach to make sure what we're selling is quality water and not contaminated.
Correct, yeah, I mean, it'll go through a process. The water has already been deemed potable by, on the part 5. But what we're talking about now is mainly the water coming out of the city of Middletown that we're
Right,
purchasing.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just bringing that up.
Yep,
Where is it coming from? What do we know about it so that we don't?
Well, it's coming from the city of Middletown right now.
Yes,
You know,
right.
coming out of one of their reservoirs.
Sure.
I'm still not quite understanding why we're even doing this. Because we have our own resource, and if we're buying water, why would we buy it to sell it? It's not a profit center type item. So I'm kind of trying to understand why we're even doing this.
Well, it's part of the negotiation with the city of Middletown, so to be able to swap water back and forth. But secondly, when you say it can't be a profit center, what do you mean?
That you're buying water from Middletown and then selling it to Chester. That doesn't
Correct.
make any sense.
That's totally legal.
Doesn't make any sense. Why would we do that? I mean, we're not a business. We're not a retail business. You don't buy a product and then sell a product somewhere else. What you do, my reasoning would be, in emergency situations, you would help other communities, local communities, as they would help us. But just to go into an environment where we're going to buy water, and if we get too much, we'll just sell it to somebody else. Why would we buy it in the first place? So I'm just trying to understand the reasoning for this whole thing.
I look at it from the perspective that, one, every municipality that has excess water sells it for a profit. And what that profit does is goes back into the town to support their water district. City of Middletown, town of Walk Hill, town of New Windsor, all selling water, excess water that they have. So if we have an asset that is going to be profitable for us, that allows us to bring down the cost to the residents of the town of Goshen, why wouldn't we do it?
Well, the reason they're selling water would be assisting other communities. I'm not sure if they're just selling water to, on a retail basis to private firms or to
Totally.
fill pools and stuff like that. I'm not sure.
Totally allowable and being done by multiple jurisdictions in the county.
Well, we've had such a problem with water in this town. I mean, at one time it was a crisis for 40 years that I know of. And to take a resource and sell it, to me, just, I'm not sure. But if we're allowed to sell it, and
Right,
we
that-
have to make a decision to sell it, does the town board have control of that?
Yes, correct. That's why it's a special use permit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight that.
But
But I just need to understand.
No,
you know,
it's a great,
where we're coming from.
it's a great point, but I look at it from the perspective that if we have an asset that we can sell and we can make money on it, that helps lower the cost to the residents of the town of Goshen, that's smart business for us.
That's kind of smart business unless we really run where we need the water and then we have to go and buy it from other municipalities to serve the town of Goshen.
Could be.
We have a resource.
Yeah,
The fact that we're gonna sell it and make a profit would be minuscule in relation to the amount of damage it could cost if we run out of water.
and
So,
you're absolutely right.
it's a resource.
And just because we're amending this, that doesn't mean we have to sell it. They still have to come back, we still have to come back and issue a permit. Chester comes in tomorrow, we're
Yeah.
having a problem. Actually,
Not a problem.
a great point right now is Monroe, the village of Monroe. I know we're not connected to Monroe, but the
No.
village of Monroe had a water main break. And the DEC, it took them almost a month to get their permit to fix the water break. They've been buying water from the city, the town of Walk Hill to support the residents in that town.
I said it, no problem. If you're doing it to assist another community, that's fine.
Well, we
If you're
don't
doing it
assist
just to
another
make a
community.
profit, selling one of your resources, to me, that's not fine. It just doesn't, but I understand.
Well, Phil, I don't have a problem helping another municipality
not at
with
all.
water on them.
They've helped us.
But I think that each time we find a new source of water, we gotta make sure that water is absolutely potable, pure.
Absolutely.
So,
That's why we've done part fives on everything that we've tested so far, and every single one of them have come back where the water is potable. One of the wells came back where we need to do.
but you know, if we're gonna talk about the wells, that's a different issue.
Right.
Because
totally different.
we can test them all we want, you know, that is
Yeah.
not potable water, that is.
Doug, you have no scientific fact to prove your point.
Yes, I do.
Zero.
Oh, I do.
Okay, so then please present it.
All right, well, let me talk about it. The four Lippo wells, Mr. Curie, in 1964, okay, opened those wells. Okay. He, a few years later, sold it to Mr. Gambino, and it was, you know, moved on with a different company. Lead was outlawed in the United States in 1975, 11 years later. The newsprint, for example, Look magazine, Life magazine, all these others were with leaded paint. Leaded paint. Do you think that, and by the way, there are no records of what's put into that landfill. Do you think they've got a lot of leaded paint or a leaded print in there? Absolutely. The other thing is, latex paint came in 1975. Prior to that, it was all leaded paint. Do you think there's any leaded painted wood in there? Yes, I do. Okay. The other thing is, we don't know what's in there because Mr. Gambino and Mr. Turi never accounted for what was put in there by who. That's a real dilemma because we don't have it. Say, well, you can check the water today, but that doesn't mean that there's not other things in there. Now, one of my concerns is every day, for example, about 5 or 6 years ago, we came up, what do they call them? PFOAs and PFOSs, right? And that was 5 or 6 years ago, something new. And that's from plastics. Do you suppose there's a lot of plastics in there? And so the point I'm trying to make is that is high risk. You can't check the water out and say, oh, good, we can sell that to somebody. The other thing is because when we sell it to another municipality or to BOCE, to the county, and years from now somebody gets ill or there's something wrong, They can sue the town, and the town, what's that all about? We're to serve the people, not to make a profit that can bring back to us a multi-million-dollar lawsuits. You go home and turn your TV on today. If you lived in North Carolina, down there at the, I can't remember the name of the place, but, and you live there, call us, we'll get you money. Or we'll, you know, this is the society we live in. So we've got to be absolutely beyond reproach.
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, thank you. So if you, when you're down in the soil, and so, you know, you can't tell that. If you're in a lake, you can check the water out and all this kind of thing. But being 500 feet from that landfill, those 4 wells, that is absolutely the wrong thing to do, because we have no real assurance. And we're here representing the citizens, serving them roads, snow plowing, this and that. We start getting into business selling water that can potentially contaminate it. To me, that's not what we were elected to do. Now, reservoir water from the city of Middletown, fine. In fact, I was sharing with Joe, there's a film made, they investigated this. It's called Garbage, Gangsters, and Greed. It was a 50-minute film about how all this happened back in the 1960s and 70s. There was a lot of crooked stuff going on. And by the way, the DEC was not created until 1970, 6 years late thereafter. Same with the health department. They weren't in existence. So these people did what they wanted to do. So it's not that there's anything wrong, it's just we don't know what's wrong. It's the unknown. And we have to protect our citizens against future lawsuits. So that, for example, let's say we give the water to BOCES. Brain development in children, lead will do a job on it, what else will do a job on it? Okay? Or to the...
You're making a presumption that the water that's coming out of those wells is touching something that's
Absolutely. I don't know.
Then how did this town board approve Rolling Ridge and everything else? They're sinking wells into the
Well,
ground.
you know, Phil worked for General Motors, we were with this. I was in the safety and environmental manager for the Wilmington, North Carolina plant. It was the world's largest polyester plant. World's largest.
PFAS was made.
Okay? And I'm sharing with you, okay, my training, I'm a biologist and physical scientist. Nobody else on this board is. I'm telling you where I've come from. I worked in the chemical industry for 28 years. This stuff happens and it's dangerous as hell. And what it is, if it turns bad, what are they gonna do? They're gonna sue the town of Goshen. Maybe 10, 15, 20 years. And it'll be for millions of dollars. And that's not what the taxpayers have put us here to do. And that's all I'm saying.
That is just a tactic of it's an unfounded tactic. Because hold on.
Go for it. Okay. Sure.
You're concerned about the lip-off wells that exist over on
500
Hartley Road, Station 6 next there.
Yeah.
But all of those houses that you allowed to be built there, sunk wells.
They all share the same water.
They all share the same
And you know
water.
what but you know what?
Rolling Ridge all shares the same water.
It's all the same water.
Okay. Two wrongs don't make a right.
You're absolutely right. We have
Two
an
wrongs
obligation.
don't make a right.
You're absolutely right. We have an obligation, if we decide that we're going to produce water, okay, to make sure that we protect the town. We're doing that. We're building a treatment system.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we're in the business of,
We're in the business of lowering taxes to the people that live in this town.
Yeah.
you're not
That's
going
what we're in
to
the
lower taxes
business
much
for.
by that water.
Okay, well.
I'm sorry, the risk is hard. Anyway, I'm gonna vote no on all that stuff going forward. But you know what? I think I may get in my car and go up to the head of the DEC and the health department and the comptroller. We're
We're going to
using,
executive session.
why?
Because litigation issue, that's.
No, I think public needs to hear
Yeah,
this.
okay, they can, I'm the only attorney here.
Okay.
So, you know, if
Anyway.
I call for an executive session, that's what's supposed to go on. If
Okay.
you're gonna
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
scientist up here, I'm an attorney.
Okay. Well, I've said what I need to say.
Yeah, I know, that's why I wanna go in executive session.
Well, do you still want to go?
I do, yes.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive
Thank
session.
Second.
Okay.
For, you're gonna tell them why, for litigation?
Litigation issue, yeah.
Okay.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Gotta reopen.
Yes, could I have a motion to return from executive session?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, back to introductory law number 11. We have any more
Supervisor.
discussion on it?
Yeah, can I just clarify one thing, because I was editing this with Mary prior to the executive session. George, your point was well taken. I just want to read it in as it now reads with the edited version, okay? The removal of groundwater for use outside of the town of Goshen, except, and then it goes to small I pursuant. The except has to be in there because it's under prohibited uses in all districts. No period then to Goshen. So it's straight through the removal of groundwater for the use outside of the town of Goshen, except pursuant to a special permit issued by the town board upon finding that groundwater recharge, so on and so forth, the rest of it.
Okay.
Because it's canceling a negative, which is the prohibited uses. So if you don't have except in there, it would be prohibited to do that. And this prohibited to remove except in these scenarios, and then it lists the scenarios, okay? So just, you may have said that, I initially crossed out except, and I went back to read it, and it read that you couldn't do it, so. Okay, all right, just wanna make sure, I wasn't sure if that's the way it left off, because I was editing while you were saying it, so. Okay, so that would be if you guys wind up, taking action in any way, that would be understood to be the edited version that you would be taking action upon.
So would you, for clarity, read the edited version for the record?
Yeah,
That
right?
portion.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure. It's under, in the paragraph, I'm not gonna read the top.
No, just
Okay.
the paragraph.
All right, the removal of groundwater for use outside of the town of Goshen, except pursuant to a special permit issued by the town board upon the finding that groundwater recharge measures will be taken to prevent any negative impact on water quality, quantity or quality within the town, or for the sale of water to another municipality. Mind you, that's read under the heading prohibited uses in all districts.
Right. Good.
So you have, okay, good.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear.
Yep.
So we have a very clear record of what we're voting on.
So you're taking out everything after the first sentence, town of Goshen, and up to accept.
Right.
And that would be your edit, cross out.
Good.
Okay?
I'm
So
okay with that.
continue, Supervisor, sorry, I just wanted to make
Fine.
sure.
Any other discussion on it? We received the 239 referral back from Orange County, no negative impact whatsoever. With that being said, can I have a motion to accept local law 2023?
No, you got, it's still public, it's still
Yeah,
public.
going through it.
You
we
can't
wanna
accept
finish.
it, you can't accept it,
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
Can I have a motion to set the public hearing, February 22nd?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
There you go. That was easy.
Item number 2, introductory law number 1 of 2024, local law amending chapter 80B, solid waste management, chapter 97 zoning.
Did it open?
Yeah, they didn't open the meeting.
Did it?
Yeah.
So what?
Oh, nothing, sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh,
Any discussion on it from the board?
Yeah, I have
Go ahead, George.
a couple things I want to discuss. Okay, so the first thing is, B, under 80B-6. I just have a question mark for there. It says, unless requirements for town permits are waived, why would we even entertain the fact of waiving the permits?
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm pretty confident that you always have that ability to do it, so it's just delineated there. But that's up for discussion.
No,
I think,
that was the
Well,
first
I mean-
it just might straight, because maybe it's not listed everywhere, but it's under the purview of the board to do that, so I don't,
Well, I mean, there are many examples, right, where permits are being issued for all sorts of
Sure.
different types of things, and then we as a board just can't come by and say, okay, your permits are waived, just go ahead and do what you're gonna do.
well, the alternative is if it doesn't delineate that permit process is needed by the board, right, then no permit's needed. You would agree with that, right? So the idea is you have the ability to grant it, you have the ability to waive that process. You're the ones that are essentially making the, I mean, you're writing the code.
I don't understand what you're saying.
So if you have the ability to have processes that don't require permits, you have processes that require permits, you also have the ability to, at your discretion, waive that permit process unless it's otherwise mandated through other, other bodies of law, higher up or DEC, the state. I don't have a scenario for you, George. I just.
Well, see, I was specifically looking at this one as the permits being waived, and then, of course, A is, may require solid waste management facility permits for construction and operation as provided. So if, in that scenario of solid waste management facilities, I couldn't think of an example of why I would want to waive any permits specifically for that.
Well, I'll say two things. One, I can't think of one. Two, just to ask, I've said it a few times earlier on in my tenure here, if you see something like that, sometimes ahead of time asking me would allow me to, research it. So I don't have an answer for you, I don't have an example for you, but that was my response.
It doesn't affect the local law if it's not in there.
No, it's just, I mean, it's,
But A covers it. And what do you say? Can you just remove B?
Yeah.
Because A does cover it anyway.
yeah,
It says we may, at the discretion of the town, we may or may not issue a permit.
that's, and it just segues into the other component, but if you want to remove it, I mean,
No,
you're
no,
already,
I'm saying-
but above
Yeah.
it gives you the discretion to make them get a permit, so by not making them get a permit, you're essentially waiving the permit process. It's just phrased differently, it's like putting the except in on the other thing, it's two negatives, it's just written,
Okay.
kind of segues from A to B, that's all, I mean, but,
Okay.
so if it's from a phraseology standpoint, fine, but like you said, it is the same thing as A, it's just written differently.
I guess the question I have is, do we do this for the county? For example, the county landfill, do we have to give them a permit since they're in the town of Goshen?
I don't know off the top of my head.
They already have a permit.
From us?
They have a permit.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Not from us.
No.
They're exempt from us.
They're a higher
exempt
form
from
of
the-
government. Yeah,
correct.
they're exempt, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
That's
have no
what I-
problem with the phraseology.
Okay.
You okay, George? Okay.
Moving on, and now I'm just looking at the overall code. So you have A, B, and then I'm just need clarification, is that there's no C.
There's no C.
So it just goes to D. Is that, is C missing, or
C's not
should D be
amended.
C?
C's not amended.
Oh, I see, okay,
So this is just what you're amending.
okay, I understand that. Next thing then is number 4 on that same page, where it says surety requirements may be waived if the New York DEC permits contain sufficient surety requirements as determined by the town. So, my limited history with the DEC and them freeing up monies that they have, I think even to today, is pretty steep. So, my thing is I couldn't think of an example of why I would be relying on the DEC to have the proper surety. I'd rather have the proper surety with the town, because I think that gives us the opportunity to free up the money if we needed to. DEC, I think that could get tied up for years. Don't we have something going on now with the landfills with the DEC, and they have a whole bunch of money there?
Yeah, they
For
do.
the
Superfund.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's,
No, it was for covering the landfill, for reclamation of whatever was on the landfill, and the federal government is holding about $1.5 million to $2 million. And they just have not released it. The landfill people want it, I think they're entitled to it, but I guess they won't release it until a landfill is considered non-toxic or whatever they consider it. I think that's what it is. That money was, Sue, do you remember?
You are partially correct.
Right.
The landfill has problems right now on the top, and I don't think it's gonna be released
Right.
into all those problems. And also the testing's done. I mean, it's gonna be years.
Right, they've had it for 40 years, and they've
And
been
it's
trying
probably
to get it
gonna be
released
another
forever
40.
and ever and ever, and they haven't released it, so.
So, you know,
That's what that
maybe
was.
they shouldn't
Yeah.
release it, I understand that,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying
They
to,
won't.
working with that organization, if you were trying to get some money extracted from them, I think it would be much harder than if it was held here.
Yeah, but you're making the determination that what they've laid out is acceptable. They contain sufficient surety requirements as determined by the town. So you're just not taking
You're
a
saying you'll
second.
waive it if you think the DEC has enough.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
still
just
up to the
saying,
town.
it's basically not requiring a second surety. If you think that now, if you have a concern about the release of that surety, that's a different.
So then
You don't have to do it. You don't have to, again, it's a discretionary
Yeah.
option.
Right.
It's not a mandate, it's not a shall, it's a may. So it still leaves you the discretion to get a different surety or additional surety or whatever your prerogative is.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's the way, I understand
That's the way I read
the
it, too.
question, but that's the way
I read it.
I read it, at least that's the way it
Yeah.
was
Okay.
intended to be.
I read it that way too, so.
And then Article 7 starts out with A, and then it says, shall meet the standards of section B and C below and any applicable requirements. So where is B and C? Or B and
These
C
are-
is not there because they're not being changed?
That's correct. I mean, in the future, I will add the entire section, but then it becomes, where do I cut that off? Because it's all read together, right? The entire, not particularly this one, but there are parts, if I amend one word, I can put the entire code in leading up to that. But, I mean, I was putting in and highlighting where the
I see.
amendments
Well,
were, so.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, context-wise, I'll try
You
to,
wanna see it, I'll bring it up.
No, B and C is there.
Yeah,
And it's not being changed.
No, it's like the,
It says, no, I
Yeah,
understand.
like the surety above with D that you're asking where C is, right? Same context as that.
Right.
And probably anything that's referenced should be attached. Not
Sure,
all
I
of the
don't
things
know.
are attached, but.
Yeah, that's
what I'm
fine.
saying, maybe if you're referencing B and C, then.
If it gets clunky like that, I understand. I'll give more body to it, so
Okay.
you can see it. I'll do that if this goes to a public hearing, I'll put that in
Right.
for when it's read in on the public hearing, all right?
Yeah, good idea. Okay.
Technical difficulties here.
So next step is setting the public hearing?
Yeah, if you guys are so
Any
inclined.
other questions, Doug, you have anything?
No?
All right, so can I get a motion to set the public hearing for February 22nd?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Introductory law number 2, 2024, local law replacing chapter 86, article 3, the town of Goshen code resident, active duty, volunteer firefighters, and ambulance personnel exemption. It's an exemption that the state, I believe, is mandating for us to give to all volunteer firefighters and ambulance, 10%.
10%,
Yes.
yeah.
Bill, I know you had some questions, Bill? or
Not on that one, no.
concerns?
Not on that one.
that one?
Is, I think it's
George?
Yeah.
mandate, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty consistent with the law. I wrote it in another municipality, so it's, unless I got it wrong there.
No questions?
No.
Any other questions from the board? Doug?
Yeah, I think just a question for George is, I know a lot of the volunteers have gone by the wayside, now you've got a lot of paid employees. What's the percentage difference between the two? You know?
You mean here in Goshen?
Yeah. Because I think it's the same with the fire department too, I think.
As of now, we have about 6 or 7 volunteers. A lot of them doing administrative work and not actually driving. I'd say it's about 95% paid. So the impact as far as 10%, as far as this jurisdiction is concerned, is negligible.
Yeah, good, that was my question. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I spoke to the assessor this morning about it. She
Yeah.
said, since the applications have gone out, we've had 2 applications submitted before.
Yeah, and it's reasonable, I mean, they're
Yeah.
volunteers,
Oh,
they
sure.
do a service for the community, I mean, it's a small incentive for them to join our volunteer forces, which we need volunteers, so.
I think that's the incentive behind the governor's doing it,
Yeah.
is to try to stimulate people to volunteer, both the ambulance and the fire department.
Right, all these unfunded mandates come down
Yeah,
from the
a
state.
couple more coming down.
I know.
Any other questions, concerns, or comments? No? All right, can I have a motion to set the public hearing for February 22nd also?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, discuss and review the resolution for senior exemptions. This is the one you have? Bill?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I just need to understand it a little bit, it's very simple, and maybe I don't quite understand it. Let me pull this up with New York State. Okay, so am I reading this correctly? That it says by the town, be it therefore resolved by the town board of the town of Goshen, that the town board agrees to as follows. And this is not approving an exemption for, number one, social security income. They're counting that as income for the application for tax exemptions, or a portion, a small portion. So right now, what happens is, if you make a certain amount of income, if you go over that income, then you're not entitled to an exemption, even if you're a senior citizen. What they're saying is, and this is optional on our part, we should use Social Security income as part of the senior's income. Well, let's say the cap, in order to get the exemption, is $60,000. And I forget what it is. I can talk about the amount that you take out of your 401k, but we're dealing with Social Security now. What happens is a lot of, if you reach 60,000 in income, senior citizens, whatever age, if you're under that, you will get a small exemption. If you go over that, you won't get that exemption. What happens is, they're saying, a lot of towns are not. What we're saying in this thing is, we're going to use that Social Security as part of your income, which means a lot of the people getting Social Security will go over that cap and won't get any benefit out of it. In other words, they won't get part of that tax exemption. If I'm reading this right, Rory?
I'm listening. I actually, I'm with you.
Yeah, are you? Okay,
Yeah.
so I just want to get.
Yeah, thank
so,
you,
'cause it-
but I appreciate
So,
it.
what I'm saying is, we're really, number one, the Social Security, the seniors are getting taxed on that to begin with. The next thing is, now the formula is, well, we're gonna use your Social Security, so the cap is 60, you make 40, you and your wife make 40 together, but you get 22,000 in Social Security. We're gonna add that to your income. Now you make 62,000, you don't get any exemption whatsoever. I think it's a real, it's a real problem.
Well, all I can,
That's number one.
yeah, I'm sorry. Then
No, go
you
ahead.
want me to address?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I don't, admittedly, I'm gonna hide behind the fact that I'm an attorney. I don't know how to address that completely. I can't confirm or deny that, but my understanding is that we've done this. This is something that the town has done in the past, and the only reason it's going to a resolution currently is because the state added additional components, options, so to speak, things that we have to adhere to that require us to put it into a resolution form again. But I can get you a better answer
I can give you the answer, I read
Oh,
the state
all right.
law, so I'm telling you. is-
Why am I answering it
Well,
then?
no, you.
I didn't know the answer. Why'd you let me go?
I don't know about the answer, but I'm gonna tell
No,
you what the
all right.
state did. They changed the formula
Yeah.
for 23 and 24 because there was a lot of confusion on this.
Okay,
And it seems like now what they're doing is giving the towns the option on this and medical payments, in order to deduct medical payments. Those
Sure.
are the two areas. And I had the law
No,
up
IRA
here,
too, isn't it?
and not one.
Also IRA. You
Well,
did-
that's another one. No, that, the IRA didn't specify it in that, but I'll go into that one.
well, I don't think it's,
Well, I-
it's not in there, is it?
Well, no, we
No.
removed it.
Yeah,
We
it's not
removed
even
it,
in there.
yes.
But I removed it after the two other discussions we had, and that was an issue raised by,
So you move the IRA, but the IRA now also is a problem. And if you removed it and we had an option to keep it in other words, an option to allow it.
yeah,
That would help a lot of senior citizens.
I thought you wanted it removed,
No,
because it was
No.
being counted as income.
yes, I want it not, yeah,
Right, so we removed it, so it's not part of the equation.
I haven't seen that, but it's
Yeah.
not, so if I look at my tax form on, I forget it's line 21 or whatever,
Right.
and it says IRA, and those, once again, the Roth IRA, you pay taxes up front.
Mhm.
So you understand us removing it, but they were not, they were using the IRAs that you had to pay tax on, even though you were over 70 and a
So
half.
I'll go back again and look, but the way I understood it, there was three options for things that would be included in, for income,
Yes,
for purposes of assessing whether you're eligible for the exemption.
Right.
And you wanted, you brought up the IRA point.
right,
So when I amended it and edited it for tonight's discussion, I took the IRA out of the calculation that would put people over the mark and not be eligible for exemptions. Based on
You did?
what I understand, yeah. I just don't,
I don't see the law that says that. I know
it's a
we have the
resolution,
option.
but is that not?
Was
It's
that
not a law,
resolution?
it's just.
It's
a way
resolution,
homeowners
it's just-
vote by resolution.
Where's the, did I see the resolution?
That's me.
It's on your tablet,
You should have that.
okay?
No,
We're not talking about that resolution.
it's not on there.
No, I'm dealing with social
All
security.
right, well, I mean,
With two things, but
we're
it's
talking
not
about
a
this,
problem.
yeah, I think I'm saying the same thing as you, Phil, and the
That's
IRA
what
was,
I'm asking.
yeah, so, at the bottom line is you guys don't have it in front of you, so it's gonna be tabled.
Well, let me ask a question.
Sure.
Doesn't this already exist in the town?
Yeah.
We're already giving the
No.
10%. Yes,
Wait,
we're already.
wait, wait,
It's
wait.
not 10%, we include
No, no,
social
no.
security for
Two,
income.
two different things, two different things.
Yeah,
Two totally different things. 10% is a done. deal.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's
Two
not
different
what we.
things. The next thing is, how do you calculate
Right.
income for tax exemption?
but what
Social
super,
security,
Social Security, I think now is added in as income.
it was
We
always
have,
added in.
yes, but we have the option now to take it out, so people can take advantage of it. That's one. The other thing that I didn't see is 401K withdrawals also add as income. That also puts them over the limit, and they don't get tax exemptions. I didn't see that. So the two
Okay.
things, if we, right now, I think forever, Social Security is added as income, I think.
okay.
Do we have
I want to
the,
make sure, we better check.
do we have the ability, at
Why don't
the
I-
local, we have the ability at the local level to remove that?
Yes,
We do?
I would, if we could, if,
It's optional.
my understanding, Paul, it gave options, so I don't know that you have to have
It's
any in there, in theory, I know that you could move the IRA one, so I took it out, but what I would suggest is that, I mean,
So, let's just table this and get,
Get the answer.
yeah, I'll get the answers, and Phil,
get the
I'll talk to you.
assessment, you know,
Get-
Social Security benefits not included in your FAGA, and that's federal adjusted gross income, except where locality has opted to exclude them from income.
okay, so then we have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would surmise you do, because we could remove the IRA, I just can't answer it on the fly like that, so I can, but I don't wanna get it wrong.
Distribution from an individual retirement account or individual retirement annuities included in your federal adjusted gross income are not considered income except where a local locality has opted to include them as income.
Right.
We included them as income, therefore the seniors always went above the cap. And that means
I don't disagree with that, that's
whatever
what-
you took out of your IRA, if it's 15,000 to live, or
Right.
50,000 to live. Once you took that amount out to live,
You
you
got things.
lose that tax exemption.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you look at both of those?
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
little confused.
I
Okay.
understand the confusion, I think I can clear that up,
Good.
but I
Thank you.
think we table it and,
Good.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
concur.
I
agree
got
with
it.
If we can remove it, then, and it benefits the seniors, then absolutely.
Right.
All right,
All right, so we'll table
I'm a
that till next
senior, by the
meeting.
way.
That was easy.
Well,
Item number, go ahead, Phil.
no, so,
Item number 5, discuss and review Delaware Engineering's agreement for consolidation of the sewer districts. We've completed the consolidation of the water districts. Next up is to complete the consolidation of the, well, right now we only have 2 sewer districts into one. So they give a proposal, so. See, it's $18,000? 15,000, I'm sorry, 15,200 to complete it. We have any, we've already approved this in the past, but, we have any questions, concerns? George?
The only question I had, just for clarification, is, I understand, 4 water districts now become 1.
They were already done, that's
Yeah,
done
right,
already.
I understand. It's, all the assets are all now
Combined.
commingled, so-
Yep,
so-
correct.
So when this happens with these 2 sewer districts, same thing's
Same
gonna
thing,
happen.
yep.
These, both, the monies from both of those sewer districts are combined. Now, that's it though. You can't then use that for water as well.
No.
That's locked into
Sewer.
just sewer.
It's no different.
you're saying
Okay,
that's
Same,
what it is
same
now.
principles, except you're consolidating it into one.
Understood, just wanted, needed clarification.
Good, George. Yeah.
I didn't have any other questions.
Rick? Doug?
No?
All right, so can I have a motion to accept Delaware Engineering's agreement for consolidation of sewer districts? And I want to add one thing, and I'd like to pay it out of the remaining balance of ARPA. We have about 80,000 left in there.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Information. Clerk to the supervisor, Karina Wigger, applied for a drinking water source protection program, and the town of Goshen was selected to work with a technical assistant on it. This is it's a grant, but it's not a monetary grant. It gives us a dedicated person at the DEC when we're looking at water issues and, while we're consolidating and looking at water issues, to have the same person, assigned to us for questions, help, but it's, they call it a grant, but it's more just a technical support person that's assigned to the town.
What happens if he's not available? Will they substitute somebody? or-
Sure, but I mean,
I would
it's,
imagine.
yeah, I mean, unless, she's on maternity, he or she is out sick or something like that, but this person is the person that we would talk to. The whole purpose of it is an ongoing, so that person understands what the town is and it's ongoing.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah.
one of, I don't know what the number was, but there were quite a few people that applied for it, and only 3 municipalities were accepted.
Good. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You need a motion for that, or is that just?
No, it's just information.
Okay.
I have a discussion on the water and sewer and what we're doing moving forward. As part of the monthly meetings that I have at the county exec's office with the city of Middletown, Town Way Beyond, sometimes Town of Walk Hill is there, and the whole expansion of water, sewer, and interconnection of towns. I started looking at, because this is gonna be a substantial amount of money for us to advance the water and sewer, to try to tie all our water and sewer districts together. So in speaking with Rick Golden, he said that when he was a attorney early in his career working for the county petitioned the legislature and were granted the ability to do public-private partnerships. He gave me the law. I went ahead and just met with Senator Skoufis on it. He doesn't have an issue with the legislation, but it requires the town obviously to have a resolution to say that they're okay with looking at and passing a resolution at the state, which would or would not allow us to do a public-private partnership. So it's nothing other than
Yeah.
if we get granted and somebody is out there that says, yeah, we'll weigh in, and we did speak to a couple of companies already out of the city that would fund the expansion of the water and sewer, and not as a loan, but as a joint venture, and keep the loan off our books. So
Does that give them ownership?
ownership of the entity, yeah, so it's a private, it would become a
Joint ownership?
joint ownership, yes, correct.
I think it's a great idea. The only thing that I would be hesitant on is that we wouldn't have control of it. And if it's a.
You're gonna
utility-
negotiate that, you're gonna negotiate that with, this, all this is doing is giving us the ability to tender and offer,
Okay.
that's all it is.
Got it.
It's not setting up any of the parameters, it's just our ability as a legislative body to say, okay, we're gonna establish a private-public entity that, because we have a $10 million project that we need to put together, and we're gonna establish a public-private entity to support that where it doesn't, it's not sitting on the town's books. But that would be addressed in the actual agreement between the public and private company. This is just allowing us to even look at it.
Can you give an example, though, where this would actually happen within the town of Goshen?
Could happen.
You know, if you have, well, let's just take a look at, let's just say we want to advance water from Middletown all the way to Arcadia Hills. We want to run that line all the way down the Heritage Trail so that we can connect water and sewer and get away from the wells that we're having problems with, all the treatment problems that we're having. We're gonna spend $1 million or so on 2 water districts to put green sand systems in. Maybe we decide to hold off on that and utilize that money to advance the line all the way down and use the city of Middletown water, which is clean water, to support Hamiltonian Park, to support. That's one example of it.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
But, this is not just water and sewer, this is anything. We might want to build a building and,
Right.
but this is just, like I said, it gives us the ability to do it if we want to do it. So, working on it, when the time comes for a resolution, I'll present it to the board. I just wanted you to be familiar with what I was working on in case, you saw the senator here or Assemblyman Moore here, who are both working on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's done in many municipalities. I just wonder if in those resolutions, it just stipulates that the municipality always has control.
Yeah, that's the
control.
negotiating point, right?
But,
Yeah.
okay, good. I think it's good.
All right. Small item, review and approve the sale of a VHS DVD player for $20.
So moved.
Executive.
Okay, did you need a motion on that?
Yeah, I need a motion.
So moved. Somebody seconded,
I
right?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
I want to waive the $20 and give it to the girl.
Salvage.
Yeah, right.
All right, review and approve the January 25th, 2024 minutes. Any questions on them? George, anything?
I don't have any.
Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run for February 2024 in the amount of $378,586.93.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Privilege of the floor. Anybody like to speak, address the board on any issues? Yes, sir.
Are you the mic?
You want a mic?
No, that's okay.
Well, you just gotta
No, I
use it to
record it.
record.
For the recording, I'm sorry.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry. I'm just gonna see control that before. Nice. Got rapid.
I wish we had these at the planning board meeting, because you can't hear anything.
They don't want
back.
Yeah.
They don't want this microphones.
I'm gonna make a comment about what Doug was saying about the contaminants in the aquifer and what you guys were saying about Rolling Ridge. That's a principal aquifer. It's mapped, you can see exactly where it is. I don't believe it goes up to Rolling Ridge. It also flows downhill, not uphill. It follows overground, but you can check in the Orange County Water Authority. The other thing that has bothered me for a while is, my understanding is you work for Hughes
I don't.
Energy.
I do not work for Hughes Energy.
You don't.
I do not.
It was in your campaign that you did?
And I resigned when I got elected.
Because I thought you were a
So I don't work for
police-
Use Energy, so I don't work for them, I sit on their board of advisors and that's it. But even if I did work for them, what's your point?
Because to me, it's a conflict of interest.
It's not a conflict of interest as long as I told the board about it, and I did. And I didn't vote on the
Okay,
resolution.
and you told the other boards that Hughes has been in front of, that you worked for them at one point?
I'm sorry, what?
You told the other boards that you worked
Everybody in
for?
town Chester is aware of the fact that at one point,
Chester?
in town of Goshen, that I worked for Use Energy at one point, yes. I never received a paycheck from them, never. Never took any expenses from them. But what's your point? You're gonna sit here dumbfounded, tell me what your point
No,
is.
because it seems
It's never a conflict of interest unless you don't expose it to the board. I exposed it to the board, and I didn't vote on the resolution.
okay,
So
because
point-
I haven't heard where it's been exposed to any board, to the ZBA or anybody.
Well,
And it's also a little-
I haven't been in front of the ZBA.
It's all, well, Hughes Energy has.
Sue, what's your point?
It's
What's your
not-
concern?
My concern is
Yeah.
one, all right, I'm gonna try and explain
Yeah.
where I'm coming from here. We have Northern Recycling IWS, it was supposed to be paying a tipping fee, which hasn't, which
Working on
comes out,
that. We're working on that.
okay. And it just seems that went from Northern Recycling to IWS, and neither of them ever paid tipping fees.
I wasn't here for that.
I know you weren't.
No, I wasn't here for that. Something that Neil made me aware of when I came here. I've been diligently waiting for the day to go back to them and say, now you're gonna pay your tipping fee. We're close to that.
That's number one. Number two is, they're in front of this board, and our code, I believe, ADB, they're supposed to submit a permit to the
Correct.
clerk for
Correct.
you guys to direct it where it's
You're
supposed to
absolutely
go.
right.
Did not see where that happened.
It hasn't happened yet, but it will.
Okay,
Thanks to your letter. I'll give you credit for it. You brought
well,
it to my
I'm
attention.
being chastised at the ZBA.
Okay. Do you want to discuss that?
So.
Do you want to discuss
I
that?
don't think you want
Yeah.
to start right now.
Come on.
So, all right, and then I'm sitting here and you guys are looking to change the solid waste code, which I don't believe would allow any of the,
Okay, so
Any of the-
let's go back. You've been here a long time. What was the prohibition put in for? What was the reasoning behind the prohibition of wasting the town of Goshen?
of waste.
Yep.
Because we have landfills that have leachate that is leaking,
No,
that
that's
have
not
been
the
a
reason
problem.
why.
And the lawsuits, yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, what's the reason why?
Because back in the 70s and 80s, everybody was looking for open land to build landfills. It doesn't exist anymore. DEC is not permitting them anymore. There's no fear of solid waste, removal of solid waste. There is no fear anymore. The garbage is here. What does Use Energy do? Let's have a little discussion. What do they do? You seem to be familiar with it, so what do they do?
I think we're changing the subject here, but
Ah.
I have looked up Hughes Energy. I have seen all the different applications they've had in front of everybody. I've seen all the arguments and all the
Well,
environmental.
there's been
Sites
no
and
arguments.
everything.
There's been no arguments. They had one application at Greene County, that was it. What
Oh,
other
you weren't up
application?
in Sullivan?
No, I wasn't in Sullivan. I went up there and spoke to Sullivan County about it. You're saying applications. Speaking to somebody and an application are totally two different things. You said users have multiple applications. Where have they put applications in?
I'll get you the paperwork tomorrow.
I'll tell you where it is, Greene County, in front of the DEC.
Yeah, it ended up being in front of the DEC's.
It's still in front of the
lead agency.
DEC.
Yep. That
Where
is-
else, was there other
I
applications?
will drop off the paperwork tomorrow. I'm sorry, I don't know it. I've got too many things in my
I'll
head.
save you the time, they haven't been in front of anybody else. Rockland County, they submitted a tender, and the tender was never read by Rockland County. Still hasn't been read out. Sullivan County, I went up and I spoke to the legislature about it, okay? Those are the only two locations in New York, and Orange County. That's it.
Well, I'll give you the
I've been to
copy of the
Sullivan County, I've
paperwork.
been to Ulster County,
I'm
yes.
not saying you, I'm saying Hughes Energy.
Believe me when I
So-
tell you, take a look at the technology, and there should be zero fear of them coming into any community in New York
I'm
State.
sorry, I fought with Masada. I don't know if you guys remember Masada. To me, it
What
seems
did
like
What did
garbage,
Masada do?
garbage bath and
No,
all.
what did they do? How was their process?
They,
What was the
I'm not,
process?
Joe, really, you wanna drag this out that long?
Then please don't make an assumption that the two entities are the same, because they're not. I'll tell you exactly what Hughes does, so that I can familiarize you with it, and then maybe you can make a logical decision that,
Okay, but just
Yeah.
hear me out, but
Yeah,
why
hear
are
me
we changing the solid waste law?
we're not changing the solid waste law. We need to remove the prohibition in order for Hughes Energy and the county to work on a pilot. That's it. We're not removing it for everybody. It's a special permit they're gonna have to file for.
But anybody could come in.
That's correct. They have to come in front of the town board and the town board has to issue a special permit.
And I think we have paid our dues for solid waste that is here. We have super funds that are here. We've had nothing but problems. I know you think it's a clean thing having garbage now. I haven't seen it.
Where are you gonna put it? Where are you gonna put the garbage?
Pardon me?
Where are you gonna put the garbage?
Right now, it's usually going to incinerators,
Where?
upstate or Pennsylvania.
No, it's going into the ground, upstate New York, our garbage in Orange County.
So then why doesn't Hughes go up there and do
They
their
are.
thing?
They are, but the whole point is, and I know you're familiar with the DEC, you boast that you know the head of the DEC, then you should be.
I never boasted that
But then-
I know the
then you
head
should
of the
be-
DEC. That's
but
a
then
flat
you-
out lie.
Okay, well, then,
I don't think I've ever even talked to you about the DEC.
I don't wanna get into an argument with that, okay? So all I'm gonna tell you is that Hughes Energy, okay, is not a waste company. They're a fiber production company. They happen to use waste as their feedstock.
Oh, and you don't make ethanol.
What?
They don't make ethanol.
The end product, somebody makes ethanol. They don't make ethanol,
Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you.
because you would be wrong. You'd lose the argument.
Okay.
Yeah, all I can say is if you want to address me on something and you want to insinuate that I've done something undermining to the town of Goshen, then you should just get your facts straight, that's all. Neil? Why not?
Just two things, I think.
Just for.
I'm sorry.
I got you.
Thank you. Hi, thank you very much. Just two things. I think with some of these laws going through that you're proposing, I think we're at the point where secret has to be done at some point for some of these. So I think I'm concerned about secret being done and the comprehensive plan probably having to be modified. I know we.
Secret's being done, as you're aware, you said on the board, secret's being done for use.
I didn't say use, I wasn't.
Well, you said some of the laws.
Yeah, I know, and I don't think any of the laws are used.
Solid waste removal, is Hughes Energy.
It is one of them, certainly. So, but I think that, and I think that we also have in front of us the discussion about selling water, which is and then I think we also have from last year, building heights. So I think we're at the point where a comprehensive plan really needs to be looked at and modified. I know we did it for Legoland, was the last time we looked at it. So I just think that's a process that needs to be followed. And I'm not talking pro or con, I think it needs to be done.
Absolutely right.
The second, and the last thing I really wanted to comment is, I think I really benefit by this senior stuff, because I know I'm a senior at this point. However, I really question whether there's a value to giving us all the breaks, and some of the families that are struggling just as much as us don't get the breaks. I appreciate the breaks, but I'm not sure the rest of the residents who have families and may be struggling, it should be income-based or something, but I think that they are also, could use it possibly as much or more than us.
This was to address a local law that came down from Albany. It had nothing to do with income or where it goes or what it goes. These were just the items that were covered by this local law.
Right, but what would happen is we would get more of a break because we can discount or not include our Social Security, our 401ks, and our IRAs. And I think that other families struggle just as much.
Yeah.
And while I would benefit from
Guys,
it,
can I tell everybody on the board that the income that Goshen considers is $32,000. So there's not too many people affected by it. There's only about 13
people total.
that's affected by this law and this tax exemption. Just so you guys know, it's $32,000,
Not the 60s.
right?
right, but if I could discount some of my Social Security and stuff like that,
Yeah,
I
But if
might be
anybody
close to
makes
that.
over 32,000, they're not gonna.
All right, thank you very much. And- Yep.
Anybody else like to address the board?
Just state it there. You got it?
Yeah, Dimitri Lippman. What, this landfill stuff, where is this coming from? Can somebody explain?
I don't, what landfill stuff?
Well, this new zoning law that's gonna get changed, can you explain that to me? I'm just a regular guy.
So we're in the process of, the town and the county are in the process of allowing some research and development to occur for 18 months at the county landfill. A company called Use Energy is going to do some processing of municipal solid waste and make fiber out of that municipal solid waste that can be used for a multitude of things. Paper mulch, bioethanol, green hydrogen, jet fuel. Those are some of the things that they don't use, doesn't make, but the fiber makes. So it's just that we're lifting the prohibition and issuing a special permit to Use Energy, allowing them to do the research.
Why?
So we can figure out where we put our garbage instead of putting it in the ground.
What do you mean we? Hughes Energy's gonna figure that out?
They've already figured it out.
Okay. So why is it done in our backyard?
Where's your garbage going?
I have no idea.
That's the problem. We need-
Not in my backyard.
Yeah, sure it is. It's going right down the corner from Rolling Ridge
Where?
at the Orange County landfill.
All of my garbage is.
Yeah, and then it gets moved out to a landfill somewhere.
Okay. So why this?
I'm not sure how I answer why this. Technology needs to be proven to the DEC. They're doing the research and development to prove it. It's for 18 months.
Is there any other site they can do this at?
Excuse me?
Is there anywhere else they can do this?
I have no idea. I'm sure there is.
I'm just saying, why here?
They chose Orange County because they chose Orange County.
But you guys have to change the law in order for them to choose Orange
No, we
County.
just have to modify them, lift the prohibition and issue a special permit. We're not,
Why? Am I asking something that's out of I'm just saying,
no,
why?
because I just said to you, in order for them to do the research, we have to lift the prohibition. You're gonna ask me why again, that's the reason why.
I don't understand that reason. You know what I mean? I don't understand why they're coming here, they're picking this site, this town, and there's a law or a change that has to occur in order for them to do that. Is there a place they can pick without having to change the law?
I have no idea. I don't know what the laws are in every other town. Only what the law is.
I mean, there's some things you know a lot about and other things not so much.
Well, I don't know the laws in every other town.
Okay. Got it, that's it. Good answers.
Thank you.
Yep.
Joe, is there some adverse environmental impact to them doing this? I'm sorry. That's okay. Is there some adverse environmental impact to Hughes doing this study?
Zero. There's no admissions, there's no air admission. It's already been proven at the DEC at Region 4 that there are no air emissions. They take municipal solid waste and organic waste, they put it into what's called an autoclave, a machine that's been around since the 1800s. They add pressure and steam and centrifugal force, breaks the fiber, that creates the fiber out of the waste. That's it. It's sorted, all of the cans that go into it, all the bottles that go into it, all of the plastics that go into it are sanitized. Make them a saleable item for the county instead of them going into the ground. This is a win-win-win for everybody.
Okay, just trying to
And
understand.
it eliminates garbage going into the ground. We have,
Right.
the New York State DEC and the governor have issued the CLCPA, which is the Climate Leadership and the Community Protection Act, which calls for a 80% reduction of greenhouse gases, a 50% reduction of greenhouse gases by 2030 and an 85% reduction by 2050. 85% of all methane is generated by decaying garbage in a landfill. If you continue to throw garbage into the landfill, you can't stop the greenhouse gases. So this is a way, Europe's been doing it for 20 years. We're so far behind Europe, that's the problem. But with this CLCPA in place, we have no choice but to worry about where our garbage goes. Not that it just is no longer in the tote at the end of the driveway.
And the products of this waste reduction are what?
They're working on many products, but Use Energy doesn't work on any of them, they just sell the fiber.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Don't shut it off, I think someone behind you.
It's
Yeah,
on.
it's on.
Hi, Jean, 7 Howard Court. Do you have the report from this company that we can look at to see that there's not gonna be a problem with our emissions
Sure, it's online, useenergy.org.
under DC?
Useenergygroup.org, everything is on there. It'll tell you the process, it'll show you everything it's doing. If you want to leave me your email, I'd be glad to email you anything,
Okay.
any questions you have, I'll ask the questions and get answers for.
And will somebody be monitoring the emissions to make sure that this is true?
Well, there are no emissions, nothing leaves the building, it's steam.
We don't know that.
I'm telling
People
you.
tell us things all the time and
Well, if
we
you-
find out later, 2
When-
years
when
down the line.
When the building is completely finished, you can go there and look and see if there's any smokestacks coming out of it. Nothing. The only emissions, you will have no emissions coming out of that building whatsoever, it's all electric.
And this is all approved by the DEC?
This is all approved by the DEC. The DEC has looked at their application and approved that there are no air emissions. DEC will be monitoring this also. The approval has to be done by the DEC prior to starting.
Okay. I have a question about number 6, the drinking water source protection program. Is that only for municipal water, or does that also protect our wells?
I'm sorry, number 6 where?
The image we got from Karina.
Oh, no, this is, gives us the ability, when a problem arises in the town on something that we may be working on or something that we have and we need help from the DEC, we have a single point of contact, that's all this is.
But regarding the water, correct?
Regarding any utility.
Oh, any utility.
Yeah, water, sewer. It's just a point, all it is a point of contact within the DEC that stays consistent for any issues the town has.
Okay, that would include well water if we find there's a problem?
I don't know if the DEC would engage in that, no.
No, okay. Because there is concern with everything that's going up on 17M, and we'll have wells that are close by. You know, we're concerned about our wells, and that's how we get our drinking water.
Understood?
Okay, thank you.
Hiram Morales, just going back, what you said, it was a pilot program?
Yes,
What happens at the end of the pilot program?
gets dismantled.
Dismantled?
Yep.
So after this pilot program, we probably won't be using those services?
After the pilot program is over, the town has the ability to go into a full 20-ton unit with the county.
Oh, okay. So
At that point, that's a total different
Right. Okay.
application. This is just a pilot, 18 to 36-month pilot, maximum 36 months, but they're applying for 18 months.
Okay, thank you.
Is anybody else before I grab the mic? Thank you. Appreciate that.
With that being said, can I have a motion to close the town board meeting February 8, 2024?
So good.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.